Indiana sports is reaching a new era. They have three young superstars in three different sports, all early on into their careers for the long term. They also have great young teams catered for them and for the success of the team for the foreseeable future. Indiana is on the cusp of reaching a media-dominant market they have never seen before. Caitlin Clark, Tyrese Halliburton, and Anthony Richardson are leading Indiana to a brand new sports era, surpassing the previous greats. Today I will go over what I believe will happen over the next decade. But before we get to that, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let's start off with the main event of Indiana right now, and that is Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever. When talking about generational talents, Caitlin Clark fits that definition. When you talk about league-changing players, she also fits that description as well. And when talking about sport-defining icons, she also fits that description as well. She has been putting on women's sports and basketball since she's entered Iowa. She's the Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James of the WNBA. And Indiana gets to boast her for her entire career, just like Chicago claims MJ. Since entering the WNBA, she has not disappointed at all, breaking multiple records in just her rookie season. Not just individual records, but her presence alone is breaking TV records, attendance records, and overall attention to the women's sports scene as a whole. She has turned around this team that was at the bottom of the league for the past 7 years into a playoff team immediately. She has all of Indiana back on track to be a sports state. Her style of play has translated almost seamlessly in a way that benefits her team, generates more eyes on the game, and is entertaining. The Lakers had some success in the 60s and 70s, but were taken to another stratosphere when Magic was drafted. The Bulls were irrelevant before Jordan helped transcend basketball and the city of Chicago, and the Cavs were forgotten about until the hometown hero put them on the map in LeBron James. Caitlin is doing the same thing to the WNBA and Indiana Fever in real time. As the years progress, this will only become more prevalent. Next, we have the Indiana Pacers led by Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton looks to be the next great Pacer alongside Reggie Miller and Paul George. At just 24, he led this Pacers team to an unexpected Eastern Conference Finals appearance against the eventual champions in the Celtics. He already is a two-time All-Star with the Pacers, and he ran one of the greatest offenses of all time by many advanced metrics, with no definitive co-star alongside him before Pascal Siakam was traded to the team. He was playing with a top 10 to 5 player in the league for the first 2 months of the season as well. He is the face of the Pacers franchise, and despite being the oldest out of the 3 stars, he is only 24. He has incredible court vision, makes jaw-dropping plays, and is overall a very fun player to watch. He elevates his team to new heights on offense and finds a way to tear down defenses in transition. Tyrese is also very marketable and liked across the league. He shined in All-Star Weekend, he was a good sport in the Olympics, and he will be a face of the league when KD, Curry, and Braun retire. Speaking of Curry retiring, Halliburton will always be in contention for best point guard in the league for his entire career as well. Considering last season was his breakout, the potential for the Pacers and his popularity to grow is only going up. Last but not least, we have Anthony Richardson for the Colts. Despite boasting one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever live in Peyton Manning and his direct successor with Andrew Luck, they have not been enough to carry the entire state of Indiana into a nationwide sports powerhouse. However, after years of trying to find a long-term starting quarterback with the Colts, they have finally found their answer in Anthony Richardson. He may never reach the heights of Manning or Luck. I think he has the potential to become the same level popularity-wise. Why? Because he's extremely fun to watch. All dual-threat quarterbacks in the league are always must-see TV as they make incredible plays with their legs and their arm every game. Richardson is no different, as he one day might become the best with all his talents. Richardson is also the youngest of the three, making him more exciting to follow. With Shane Steichen as head coach, a fully unlocked Anthony Richardson will be a top 5 QB in the entire league. He has a young team around him and a bunch of great weapons to grow alongside him for his entire career. The Colts look to be a very explosive, fun, and high-octane offense for the next 5 to 10 years if he is under center. If Indiana boasts the face of the WNBA, the best point guard in the league, and a top 5 QB, the state of Indiana's popularity in sports will only go up. The best part about these 3 stars is that they are all still very young and early into their careers. We will get to see the state of Indiana boast 3 of the biggest stars in their respective sports for a decade to come. We could see the golden age of Indiana sports surpassing the eras of Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Paul George, and Reggie Miller. Not saying any of these players will surpass them individually as of now, but the collection of young talent in Indiana is something special. Outside of the 3 I mentioned, you have the young wide receiver core headlined by Michael Pittman Jr. on the Colts, and you have Jonathan Taylor as well. Latu will become a star, and that's a guarantee. You have co-star Pascal Siakam, who could retire as a Pacer, Benedict Mathurin, who has still room to grow after he was injured his sophomore season. Elijah Boston was the first overall pick in the draft before Caitlin Clark, and she is talented in herself, and as the years go on, the connection between her and Clark will only grow to become one of the best in the league. Each team is exciting in their own way. They have high-powered offenses that are much-see TV, and Indiana could realistically have 3 top 5 offenses in each sport for the next decade. We saw how entertaining and high-scoring the Pacers team was when they were all clicking. They play with such a fast pace similar to the Nash Suns, all led by Tyrese Halliburton. Their transition offense is very exciting as well. For the Colts, we saw last week what AR is capable of. With his huge arm and talent combined with large jump ball receivers, we can expect to see more crazy deep shots throughout his entire career. His running ability alongside JT's in the backfield will always keep defenses on their toes, opening up the opportunity for more explosive plays. The Colts have such an explosive offense. And lastly, the fever runs through Caitlin Clark. She sets up her teammates for easy buckets and is an elite playmaker. She has the offensive capabilities of anyone in basketball, and she has made the FIFA and WNBA a better product and more entertaining as a whole. Lastly, each team has a rival and player rivalry with their star player as well, creating even more buzz and headlines around their team. Starting out for the most obvious one, the Colts have a divisional rivalry with the entire AFC South, but more specifically the Houston Texans, who are projected to be good for the next decade as well. CJ Stroud and AR's career will always be intertwined, as they were 2 picks apart in the 2023 draft. 2 opposing quarterbacks who have different skill sets but have the potential to become top 5 in the league for years to come. I'm certain that this division rivalry will become the premier one in the next 5 years, and this QB rivalry will go down as one of the best in the decade and of all time. Next, we have Caitlin Clark, who is essentially rivals with the entire league. She brought in so much attention in college before she got drafted on the court, and she will continue to draw more eyes on her. Naturally, being in the spotlight, players and teams have thrown shade and hate at her way. However, she has been balling regardless, setting records seemingly every game she plays. Her biggest rival, though, is Angel Reese from Chicago Sky. More talent entering the WNBA like Paige and Juju Watkins in the next couple of years, her rivalry with other teams and players will only grow larger. The WNBA will revolve around her and Indiana for the foreseeable future. Lastly, we have the Pacers, who have a tough playoff series against the rival Knicks. Tyrese Halliburton versus Jalen Brunson. This rivalry with the second biggest basketball market in the world only boosts the attention to the Pacers and Indiana as a whole. Not only that, but the Pacers also found themselves in a rivalry with the Bucks over the course of last season. The Bucks, headlined by 2 superstars including one of the best in the league, brings even more attention to Indiana. Indiana sports is truly entering a brand new era of success, recognition, and attention. Similar to the 2010s Boston eras of the Patriots, Bruins, Celtics, and Red Sox, all reaching success with some of the best players of their era, or the stretch Chicago went on from the dominant Bears of the 80s to the Bulls and Michael Jordan in the 90s. We can see something similar, as even now Indiana sports has gotten even more attention as a whole compared to even 5 years ago. The sky is the limit for Indiana and their teams. However, there is one city that I think will surpass everyone else. But you will have to stay tuned to find out which city that is. Let me know what you guys think of Indiana sports, and if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.